All right, welcome on in everyone to this episode of First CSP, the channel dedicated to bringing you the first council shoulder patch issued from each council in Scouting America, both past and present. Today we're going to take a look at Evergreen Area 606 out of Washington, originally formed in 1941 as a name change from Everett 606, lasted up until 1993 when it merged with Mount Baker Area 603 to form Mount Baker 606. Couple of patches to take a look at today, starting of course with the very first issue. This is the T1A for Evergreen Area. It is defined with its blue border, green twill background, white letters, and most specifically a white line you'll see in the border itself. Really nice clean patch, classic look. I do like the colors as well. The blue and green twill background with white lettering there just looks really slick. Sometimes less is definitely more. I really like this patch. It is a gauze cloth back patch for the T1A. And we are going to find that the second issue is going to be very similar as well. But that is the first issue, most defined by the white line in the border. All right, so we take a look here at the T1B. Same blue border, same green twill, white letters. Now we just notice there is no white line in the border. Other than that, it is a very similar patch. Also a cloth back on the T1B. One thing to note here, our original T1A was using white lock stitching. This is actually a clear lock stitch. So if you did have a picture of the back, that might be helpful as well. I don't know how many production runs they had here for the T1A and T1B, but just to note again, the lock stitching here is white, and it did appear as though the lock stitching was clear on the T1B. But the patches do look relatively similar. Obviously, the white line is going to really give it away between whether or not you're dealing with the T1A or T1B. I don't think there's a ton of confusion, but absent that white line, they are very similar patches. We do actually have the next couple of issues as well. They went away from the twill background of the T1A and T1B, and the next two patches are taking the same imagery from the first issue here. They do a fully embroidered patch, and then they move to add fleur-de-lis. Now they do also go away from the white lettering, and now here on the S2A we've got silver mylar lettering. So with the S2A we've got our same blue border. Now the background is vertically stitched green. We've got the silver mylar fleur-de-lis, and the lettering for Evergreen Area Council in Washington is also silver mylar. You will find that as this patch was vertically stitched, it's not great for reading the lettering. It does kind of end up produce a little bit of a sloppy look for the patch. And that's probably why they didn't stick with vertical stitching when they got to the S2B. But this is following the same trend that we've seen in older CSPs where the first issue just had the council name and then later they're generally adding BSA or, as in this case, the fleur-de-lis logo. So here we have the S2A adding the fleur-de-lis where it's vertically stitched for the background, and then we move to the S2B, much cleaner looking patch, and here we see now we have a horizontally stitched background. Again, this production method does seem to produce a much cleaner patch when then trying to go back and putting the lettering for the council. Again, comparatively, this is a much nicer looking patch. Although between these S2 patches and the T1s, I think that the twill background is actually superior to the sewn patch in many regards. It just looks cleaner. It looks nicer. We'll go back and put the T1A at the top here and kind of show you the distinction between the twill backed patch And the sewn patch, I also really like this blue contrast a little bit more. This is more of a hunter green, and because this is sewn and catches the light with the stitching, it just looks brighter. Uh, yeah, I think that the first issue there, and even the T1B, are really nicer than the S2s, if you ask me. But that's just my opinion. With that, that is Evergreen Area and their first issue. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode, found it a bit informative. If you are liking the content, feel free to give it a thumbs up like. Love to see you back here tomorrow. We have new episodes every single day. If you've missed episodes in the past or you're new to the channel, feel free to go back and check out our past episodes. They're there for you 24/7. Hope that you continue to enjoy the content as we really enjoy putting this together for you. As I've said, we'll be back tomorrow with another episode, but until then, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.